Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Urban Excellence Workforce Wednesday. My name is Yvonne Beals, and I'm the Chief Education Officer. Welcome in. This is our last Workforce Wednesday for the fall session. So we have one more dynamic presenter for you this evening, and I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Miss DeAsia Strong. She is a legal analyst in the trademarks department for E&J Gallo Winery. For 7 years, she's brought her bold, bright, and honest, true self to this industry. She is encouraging others and building them up along the way. She allows always greets everyone with her beautiful smile and a compliment. She knows being kind doesn't cost a thing and is a great foundation for building long-lasting friendships while setting the stage for blessings in one life. So she will be presenting to us her expertise in this industry of the winery industry. So without further ado, thank you so much, Ms. Strong, for your uh, participation tonight and lending us your expertise and your time. We're filled with gratitude with you sharing with us tonight. So, welcome to Workforce Wednesdays.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate that. And I do want to say thank you, Yvonne. I do want to say that that introduction Yvonne gave, I had to actually get that from somebody that wrote that up about me at work. So that's how the people feel about me here at the job at the winery. So I want to go into a little bit, give you guys a little bit more feedback, background on me. I am a mother, a wife. I have three children. My husband and I together have three children. And we have a little grandson. He's 12 years old. Our kids are 37, 35, and then we have a little 23-year-old. Um, we're married, been together 23 years, and we live out in a city called Lathrop. If you guys are familiar with that at all. It's kind of like in between Stockton and Manteca. And I work here at the winery. It's at the corporate headquarters here in Modesto. I like to tell people that it's the headquarters because sometimes people will think that I work in the tasting room and I get to like taste and drink wine all day, but that's not the case. I am a legal analyst here in our trademark department. And I have been in this department for about 3.5, almost 4 years. Now, I didn't start in the trademark department. I actually started with this company as a assistant, so a purchasing assistant, and I started here in 2016. One good thing I can tell you about working for E.J. Gallo Winery is that it's not always about what you know, it's who you know. And they really do pride themselves on networking. So you can network within the company. They really encourage you all the time to have these things called coffee chats. They're like meet and greets, and you can put a meet and greet on someone's calendar, and you can go and sit down with them in their department, and you can sit and talk with them and job shadow anytime you want. And if that's a job that you would like to, familiarize yourself with, you can reach out to someone, have a coffee chat, have a meet and greet, job shadow. And then when the job comes available, they will reach out to you and ask you if this is something that you are interested in. So that's one good thing that I love about working for EJ Gallo Winery. It's very different than other companies that I have worked for. It allows you to be able to learn different careers within the same company. And that is something that they want you to do. They actually like you to do meet and greets after at least a year you've been in a position, and they encourage you to move to a different position at least every 2 to 3 years. So that's one good thing that I want you guys to keep in mind about EJ Gallo Winery. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. So to get into some of the questions about my career, I want to also let you all know that working for this company, they are really like one of the best companies to work for out here in this area in Modesto. I would have to say I've started here in 2016, like I said, as a purchasing assistant, and then I worked my way up to be a procurement assistant, and then into our trademark department. So, and from there, it's just all about who I met, who I network with, and then the managers would call. So for this position, I actually got poached. My manager asked me to come over here and work in the department. So it wasn't about did I know anything about trademarks? Absolutely not. I never even heard about trademarks before I got into this department. Never even knew anything about trademarks. But she offered me the job and I took it, and then you just get trained on the job. So that's a great thing here at EJ Gallo Winery that they promote. So let me give you a little bit of detail about my job. If any of you all have not heard of trademarks, what we do here, and this is just like a small kind of like nutshell of what we do. So basically, we sell wines, and this is I bought like a bottle of wine. This one is our Boone's, and then this one is Barefoot. But we sell millions, millions, and millions of wines all over the world. In different locations. So in all different countries, we sell from mom and pops, bodegas, to grocery stores, to Costco's, everywhere. Wine shops, anywhere you go, you would be able to find a wine that is made by EJ Gallo Winery. And what we do is our sales team goes out and they sell our wine in different, restaurants or different places, different locations. Before the wine can be shipped there, our wine has to be trademarked first in order to be able so we can be able to sell in that country. Trademark means that we have to be able to own the wine, which we own the wine, but there's a whole process of getting this label created, and then there's a whole process to sell this wine with this name Boone's in a particular country. And I don't know if you guys can see that one, but this one says Barefoot. The lighting in here is really bright. But anyway, there's a foot on there. That one is not really good. There's a foot on there, and that actual foot actually had to be trademarked as well as the name Barefoot. So what happens is, say we wanted to be able to sell this Barefoot wine in Aruba. There may already be a wine, or even just like anything. Somebody could be selling anything in that country with the name Barefoot. Before we sell our wine in Barefoot, we have to make sure that we are we're not going to get in trouble for selling the same name, the same wine, the same label in that country. Because if we do, then if we can't get our wine registered, then we can actually get an office action, and then somebody can come after us and we can be prosecuted against. So the process goes, we start off with a search, and we work with local counsel in that country. So I would reach out to my counsel in Aruba and I would say, I'd like to do a search in Aruba for the name Barefoot, just the name Barefoot. They will go out, they will look around in different stores, different bodegas, different grocery stores, and see if there's another wine being sold or even an alcoholic beverage with the name Barefoot. Or even if somebody has a foot on their wine, they'll come back, they'll give me all the information. I will then take my search report. I will write up a whole analysis on it. I'll have it reviewed by my manager. And then from there, if it's a clean search, we can go ahead and say, yes, we want to go ahead and file an application. Once we file that application, it goes through a process. And overall, it will be registered. Once the mark becomes registered in Aruba, then every 5 years or maybe 10 years, depending on what country it is and their laws, then we have to keep maintaining the registration so we won't lose our registration. So that's kind of like the gist of my job. It is very it's very fast pace. It's and we work off of a docket, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but we have dates and dates on there, and we go through our docket, and every single mark that needs to be worked on is by a date. And when that date comes up on the docket, we know that there's something that needs to be done with the brand. And there's a whole lot of work that goes into it to be able to register it and keep it maintained. So that's like the gist of the job. I would actually have to say, as far as what inspired me to pursue this career. So again, I didn't know anything about trademarks at all. My manager knew my old manager that was in when I worked in procurement, and she recommended me and said, hey, I actually need somebody to come and kind of, I need somebody's, personality for my department. We're kind of, not doing too well. The people aren't really getting along. And I kind of need somebody to kind of hone us in and kind of lead, the team. And I think Dee would be a great fit. So again, it wasn't about what I knew. It was about who I was as a person. And that's the one key thing about EJ Gallo that you guys would love if you're interested in working in the wine industry, but also for EJ Gallo Winery. So I would have to say that I was just to get into Gallo, to be honest, I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And then I just started looking for a job. And this company actually kind of reached out to me. And when they reached out to me, I was like, okay, it'll be good for me to go back to work. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really know what career I wanted. I just kind of was like, let me get back into the workforce. Let me start trying to, kind of build my skills back again, because initially I am a cosmetologist by trade. I used to do hair years ago. But I said, I need to get back, to the corporate of it all, because doing hair, I don't know if you guys know about that. The wigs are putting us out the game. So I said, I have to do something different. So, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, it's been great. I've been able to hold 3 different positions. This is my 3rd position here, and it's been great being here. The next question is, what kind of education and training did you need to enter this profession? Again, no professional training. I do have, my degree, but honestly, to be in trademarks, to get into Gallo, to start off as an assistant, you don't have to have a degree to start off. I would probably say, if you're interested right out of high school, you can apply here as an assistant. And I want to also tell you guys this. A lot of companies that I'm looking at, a lot of companies, they have, when you're looking at the job descriptions, you see a lot of big words. You see a lot of, words and a lot of things that probably don't make sense. Don't let that discourage you for applying to the job. Apply anyway, no matter what. When I'm helping people look for jobs, or they're saying, well, I don't know if I can do that, and I don't know if I can do that. Don't look at that part. At least don't let that scare you. Scroll down, and look at the description. If it's something that you're comfortable with, you feel like if someone trained you that you can do it, I would say go for it. And then you let them tell you no. But don't pass up a job because you look at the description and you don't think that you can do it. Again, if I would have read this description for this job, it would have been an absolute no. Let me tell you guys, my title is a legal analyst. I have no legal and no analyst bone in my body. No, I'm just being honest. So I don't want you guys to ever be discouraged based off of a job title or description. Anybody can be taught anything. So go for it. You press submit and you allow them to tell you no. And even if you get a no, that doesn't mean you stop there. You keep going and you keep doing it. And someone will say yes and someone will train you. Okay, so what are some of the challenges that you face in your job and how do you overcome them? I would definitely say some of the challenges would be the learning. Now, even though I got the position with no experience, there still is a learning curve, because being an analyst, especially for prosecution, meaning I'm going to be conducting a lot of like legal proceedings. So like if we get an office action, meaning an office action for us would say someone already is using the word bear, someone is already using the word foot. It's a direct match to the mark that you guys want to register, barefoot. And so now I have to try to come up with a resolution on how we can coexist in Aruba with us wanting to register our mark barefoot and also coexisting with another company that owns the word bear or foot. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, you guys can ask me questions after. So there's a lot of analytical pieces about this, and I had to learn that part. I am good with talking one-on-one, but when it comes to writing and being able to like use my legal jargon, that is something that I had to be taught. And you have to have patience, and people have to have patience with you. So again, don't be discouraged if you start a job that you don't have any background for. You can be taught. One thing I do all the time is I always request a one-on-one with my manager, and she gives me feedback, and I always take lots of notes. Also, number 3, I work with a team, and each person in my department does something different. So I will go to each person in my department and pick their brain, ask them how they resolve this. What would they do? What do they think? How did they handle it? So I like to ask a lot of questions. I'm not afraid to ask a lot of questions, and you should never be afraid to ask questions. Even if you think the question that you are asking doesn't make sense. 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't make sense to you, more than likely it doesn't make sense to someone else. And you keep asking questions until it makes sense to you, period. And it's okay to do that. You don't have to be shy. You don't have to be embarrassed. And that's not only in your job, that's in life. Always ask questions. If you don't know something, ask. And you keep asking until you understand. Okay. And that's something when my manager hired me, I told her, I said, I don't have experience. She said, that's fine. I said, let me tell you, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Is that going to be a problem? And she said, no. I said, okay, I've been here 3.5 years and I've gotten an increase every year. So I must be doing something right. Okay. How do you use, okay, let's go back to this. The challenges that I face on my job, I would have to say the learning curve. I said that, but also I will say this. Where I work in a city. It's it's called it's Modesto, California. It is not really diversified too much. And if you guys don't know what that means, long story short, in my department, I'm the only African American. So sometimes the challenge for me is, and you guys can see when I talk, I use my hands a lot. Sometimes people, when I before they got to know me when I first started, if I use my hands and I talk, sometimes they'll say, "Dee, are you upset? Are you angry?" That kind of thing. So, I'm sure you guys understand that. So I would have to say some of the challenges that I deal with are cultural. Um, I'm 50 years old. Another thing too, because I'm 50 years old, I work with a lot of like younger men and women. So they might be in their early 30s, they might be in their early 40s. And so I'm kind of like, I'm maybe like the oldest here, which is fine, but it's hard to kind of keep up with the Gen Zs, you guys call it. So it's like the language that you guys use. And, my daughter's always telling me, Mom, you're old. So sometimes I have to kind of say, what does that mean? I more so am at my desk working, like work, because I have a great work ethic, where the other people in my department, they're kind of like up talking and stuff like that. That's the younger generation. I'm more old school. I'm just like, you come in, you do your job, you ask your questions, you take your notes, I'm just kind of by the book for the most part, which is something that you definitely want to have, is great work ethic. Work ethic meaning you're at work on time, you come in, you do what is expected of you, you do what's on your job description, and then that's it, and that's all. I do want to give you guys a side note, because I'm learning this too. A lot of times when we start our careers and stuff, we start with these companies and we think that we are at the company to make friends. No, you're not here to make friends. You're here to come to work every day, do your job, collect your check, and then that's it. I know I'm starting to probably sound like a mom. I am. But I'm telling you that because that is going to free you up from a lot of stress. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to free you up, because a lot of people, you're not here to make friends. Your job is for you to come to your job, you do your work, and you collect your check and you go home. That's it. Now, if you make friends along the way, that's fine, but that's not the sole purpose and that's not the goal. So I want you guys to also keep that in mind as well. And so how do I use my creativity and problem solving in your work, and why are those skills so important? For me, I would have to say I am very creative. So let's go back to the labels. In my actual job that I do, I have to be creative, because sometimes counsel will come back and say, "Hey, you know what, Dee, we already have a company out here in Aruba. They're already selling a wine and they're calling it Boones." Well, they're calling it Boone, Boone. You guys have a comma and an S, meaning Boones. So I have to be creative and think of other ways. So I'll say, maybe instead of us registering the name, what if we just tried to register the actual design? So you have to kind of think a little bit deeper into it. Let's see if we can register the design, and then I have to be very descriptive on what are these, like blackberries, raspberries, kind of giving them a little bit of a description on what this is. I have to work with our marketing team quite a bit, because they're the ones who create this label, and they have to make up a mock of the label, and then I send it to council. Council reviews it. They send it to the TMO office. They have to approve it, and then we may be able to get our wine registered that way. So it's a lot of creativity that goes into it. You have to think a little bit outside of the box on what could really be done, as opposed to what cannot be done. My manager's always asking me, "D, go deeper. Think outside of the box. Think what else you can do." In that case, what I do is I'll go to one of my colleagues and say, well, what do you think? know, and it's okay to, again, it's okay to ask questions. Sometimes in when you're an analyst, and I notice with myself, we have to like kind of feed off of each other, kind of to get pointers and different things like that. So it's okay to ask, and it's okay to ask for help. Um, Problem solving, I would have to say, when I'm working on my analysis that I have to get approval for from my manager, she is always asking, what are the issues, like what are the problems? And so what I ended up doing is actually taking a writing class, because the writing class, yeah, and the writing class helps me to be a better writer. Again, I came into this position with no background in trademark, and definitely no background in analysis. So I had to learn how to write better. And my manager told me that. Again, feedback from your manager, you always want feedback. And you cannot, I have to repeat this, you cannot take it personal. If you want to grow in your position, you have to set up your one-on-one meetings, and you have to ask your manager, what is it that you see that I can do better? Because your overall goal is that you want to grow in your career. You want to be able to put more information on your resume, and you want it to be detailed. You want to at least look smart, even though I can use myself. I'm not really all that smart. I'm a legal analyst, but I don't have, again, a legal or analyst in my body at all. Okay. So the goal is, when you all start off right out of high school, you want to build your resume. Your resume is going to speak for itself. Someone is going to see that resume before they even see you. Okay. Other than money, other than money, what are some benefits, perks to your job? Okay. So this one is really exciting. At our company, because we sell wine and different things like that, we have a huge social media presence. And I know you guys know all about social media. I don't know a lot about social media at all. My daughter's still trying to teach me some things. But I actually have just gotten asked to do a commercial for one of our brands. It's actually for Barefoot. So I was able to do a commercial. We do commercials here. We do like media presence. We actually just, I know you guys know Issa Rae from Insecure. We are actually just created her wine, and Gallo now is going to be bottling her wine and selling her wine for her. So we work with Post Malone. We work with, all kinds of rappers as well. So that part is very exciting. But anyway, so they asked me to do a commercial for Barefoot, and we have like a whole marketing like it's a whole building over there, and it's really like the real deal. And I didn't know that until they asked me. And when I went over there, I was like, oh my God, like this is real. Like they have cameras and lighting and face powder and clothes and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, like I've hit the big time. So I did my commercial. I had lines and everything. So that was so rewarding. I mean, just to even be asked to do something like that, what it did for me is, even on my hardest days at work, and you will have hard days, when they asked me to do that commercial, I was like, wow, this all makes it worth it. I want to tell you guys, and I thought about you guys last night when I was thinking about this. When you all start your job, when you all start your career, your first job may not be a job that you want, and that's okay, because you do have to make money. But location is everything. And I want you guys to think about, you're going to go to work every day, but when you get off work, that is your time for play. So you work and then you play. So when you get off, when let's take it back. When you are looking for your job, you don't have to stay in your job where you live. You can go anywhere in the world. That's the good thing about being young. You can go anywhere in this world and start your career. You go to work in the daytime, and then when you get off work, that's your playtime. So I would definitely have to say, when you're looking for your job, don't think that you have to be focused on staying where you live. Branch out. Even if you're a little scared, it's okay. You can always come back home, but you can start off in a different city. You can even start off in a different state, and that will be really good for you. You can just search, you can find something that you want to start off with small, and then you can build from there. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I'll give you guys a quick little story. And Yvonne, you let me know. You put your hand up when it's time for me to get off. Okay.
We'll
Um,
have a few more minutes.
okay. My daughter, she's 23 years old. She went to Texas Southern when she was 17. She graduated from high school at 17. She wanted to go to Texas Southern. So we, sent her down there, got her in Texas Southern. She finished school and she said, "You know what, Mom, Dad, I'm not coming back home." So she lives in Houston. She's 23 years old. I am so proud of her. I'm extremely proud of her, because she did something that I wasn't even able to do. She set her sights on something. She didn't even know what she was going to get into. She went to school. She, saw what the area looked like, and she said, "You know what? I'm going to take my chances and I'm going to stay here." And she's been there now since 2007. I think that's what, 7 years. And she's doing her thing. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Go to college, and even if you don't want to go to college, find something that is going to benefit you work wise and play wise. That is huge. You have to have a work life balance. You have to. If you don't, you will get burnt out on work, and then you'll end up, it just won't work out for you. So be able to, if you be able to find a location that you could at least hang out in. I think for young adults your age, 17 to, in your early 30s, you need to have a work-life balance. It can't all be work, but it also can't all be play. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
those are great gems. I have a couple of questions for
Sure.
you. Are there remote opportunities in your industry?
Mhm.
And does your uh, current position allow you to travel?
So we do offer remote positions here. And the reason why is because, during COVID, a lot of us, well, we were home for 2 years during COVID. So they have allowed a lot of people to work remotely. We actually still do work remotely. They let us work 2 days from home and 3 days in the office. So it is up to the manager's discretion. And that's pretty much with every job, depending on what kind of job you have. So that is a yes. And then the next question was, does EJ Gallo
Yes.
allow you to travel? Yes, depending on the job that you have. My job, I do not travel. I come to work every day and then I go home. But there are some jobs, like sales jobs, where you are going out into, the different locations and everything, and you're selling your wine. We have locations all over the world. So you can start there. You can start as a sales rep, and we have an extensive training program that you can get into, and they will train you, and you can, from there start your career as a sales rep. And you can pick the region that you want to sell in. So yes.
Awesome. And then one technical question, when you were
Mhm.
talking about, say, you're in a different country and they have a trademark on Boone's,
Mhm.
and so you had to get creative with the label. So for those who travel or go to a different country, will that product just look different? It's the same product, and it just may not have the name on it, but it'll still be the same product? Like, do you have to change the label? Will it not say Boone's at all?
No, whatever our label is and whatever our design is, it stays across
Oh,
across
okay.
across the country, no matter what. This label will be on this bottle, and it will be exactly like this.
Okay.
We always have to have a name, and some of them will just have a name. We call it a mark, a trademark, and some of them will just and some of them will have. So we have one called J Vineyards. It just has a J on it, and that's it, but it's called J Vineyards. So sometimes we will be able to just sell it with the design, but we're always going to go after the name first.
Right.
That's
Okay.
that's that's always first. If we can't get the name, then we will try to use our to at least try to trademark our label. But it will always stay the same no matter what in any country.
Awesome. Awesome. So, did anyone have any additional questions for Miss Strong that you'd like to ask in the chat? We have about maybe 5 more minutes before we wrap up. If you do, feel free to put it in the chat. Um, at this time.
I think I talk so much too.
No, it was great because a lot of the takeaways is, navigating career paths and not being intimidated.
Yep.
And then also like your story, if I heard you correctly, one position actually led to another position. So sometimes it's about getting in the door
Yep.
and seeing what windows open up that may lead to another career that you didn't even know existed.
Exactly.
So it's sometimes it's okay to just get your foot in the door and start work networking because it could be a lot of it's who you know and not what you know. So
That's it.
um we have a question in the chat. What's your inspiration?
My inspiration every day for getting up, coming to work, I would have to say is retirement. Yes. I don't know if you guys really know what that is yet, but yeah, I get up every day and I come to work. Do like my job. It's challenging, but I do like my job. I like the people that I work with. I love the company. I love the
Mm,
company. And I know that there's growth. You know, I know that there's more that I can do. And with more that I can do, that means there's more money to be made.
mm. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? I used to work for Winebow in 2018 as a sales rep in the North Bay. It was very discouraging as the only Black girl in my department at times. I would love to maybe again venture out and maybe be more in the back office like yourself. Do you need an assistant? LOL. So
No,
what we will
no,
do,
that's right.
I know. Hey, that's what we're trying to connect
Ask,
these young
ask
people to.
questions.
Ask those
Hmm.
questions.
I love it.
Exactly. So, after this presentation ends, everybody, we will do the QR code for the eval. And there is a question if you'd like to get connected to any of the presenters. So we will
Mhm.
make that happen if so that you can ask those follow-up questions. And do you all at your winery or your depart or your organization have any internship opportunities or
We do.
currently? Okay.
Hmm.
So, what we'll do is maybe you could provide us with a website
Yes, I
for
can.
an employment opportunities, and then when we send out the link to the follow-up presentation, we'll add that information to it as well.
And I'll go ahead and give you guys that now. If you guys have pencil
Okay.
and paper, you can write it down.
Okay.
That way you can look at it. So you want to look at EJ Gallo. That's Gallo with Gallo,
Hmm.
ejgallo.com.
Okay. And I just put it in the chat.
Yes. And so you can Google that and just start there. And again, I will let you guys know when you see those job descriptions, do not get discouraged. The job descriptions are like, I'm going to be honest, it's just doing too much. And then, Yeah, and then you go through your interview and stuff and you realize I can do this. Like, so again, do not be discouraged by the job descriptions. You can start off as an intern. They do have intern programs, or you can start off as an assistant coming in that way.
Awesome.
You guys want to look up ejgallo.com and also
Okay.
ejgallowinery.com. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We will note that as well. Okay. Well, I know the time is near. It just flew by. It was so
It
engaging
did.
and very interesting to
Thank
learn.
you.
Um, and inspiring as well, because not everyone has to have the legal degree or the expertise, just getting in the door and working your way up and having a good work ethic,
Yep.
um, doing the hard work when no one's watching, pays
Yes.
off. So those were some real positive gems that you dropped on us tonight, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate your time. So we thank you, Ms. Strong.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share now the QR code for you
Okay.
all to take your phones out, and hopefully you can see that now. Go ahead and do the survey,
Okay.
and we are gracious. I know life is lifing for you. So again, thank you so much for just sharing this last hour with us. We
Thank you guys
appreciate
so
you.
much. And thank you for having me. And again, if you guys want to reach out directly, that's fine too. I would love that. If you guys need
Okay.
any information, I don't need an assistant. I do have one, but anything could happen.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Now, Yvonne, do I log on to this QR code as well, or is that for the students?
It's for the
Okay.
participants.